Hi everyone, this is Kathy from Nothing So Strange. Just wanted to share fun I was having this weekend. I was thinking recently, because Alice in Wonderland and how much I love Alice in Wonderland keeps coming up. I know I've mentioned it in a couple videos so far, and I've only made, 7? And I was thinking about Alice in Wonderland decks the other day. They keep coming up this week. I'm wondering why I don't have one yet. I've got a playing card deck with Alice, but no tarot decks with Alice or oracle decks with Alice. And I know it's because when I see Alice decks, I get all excited. I flip through. I immediately start disagreeing with the choice of characters for cards, and then I can't buy them. And so I was thinking yesterday, well, maybe I should just make my own Alice in Wonderland deck. I can do that. The original Tenniel illustrations are in the public domain now. So I started looking through my Alice book and deciding how I would assign characters. And I just wanted to share with you where I am so far. About half the deck's still unassigned. But in some kind of order. Some of these are really difficult. And one of the problems I have with a lot of the decks that are out there is that people have chosen really well based on what images look like, but not necessarily what's going on in the story. This is one of those cases. We have Alice, and at this point she's giant Alice. She's just cried the pool of tears, and she's startled the White Rabbit, and he's running away. And so I'm thinking, okay, that might be 5 of Swords. He's not really running away in defeat, though, so I don't know. I might change that up later. This one, though, I'm really happy about. Here is the 6 of Pentacles, frequently the card of generosity. I'm always a little sketched out by why does this guy get something and this guy doesn't get something, and why is he so rich anyway? So I'm always a little ambiguous about how I feel about that. And I think this scene in Alice where after the caucus race, everybody wants a prize, and so Alice hands over her little box of biscuits, and everybody gets a little biscuit as a prize but her. And then the dodo has Alice hand over her own thimble and then gives it to her as a prize, gives it back to her as a prize. I think that's perfect. Judgment. I'm not sure if this is going to work or not. This is the mouse telling a long, boring story. Fury said to a mouse that he met in the house, "Let us both go to law. I will prosecute you." And then down here at the bottom, somebody's getting condemned to death. I was like, that might work for judgment. I don't know. But definitely for the 8 of Swords, the woman trapped, but not really. That's perfect for when Alice suddenly gets large in the White Rabbit's house and is all jammed up inside and can't get out. Oh, strength. When Alice is very, very small, she is menaced by a puppy and manages to lure it away. I think that's pretty good for strength. We'll hang up here. I think the Wheel of Fortune works really well for this conversation between the Cheshire Cat and Alice. I think everybody knows the part about we're all mad here. This part in the beginning, when Alice asks where she should walk, and the Cheshire Cat says that depends on where you want to go, and she says, I don't care really, and don't much care where. And he says, then it doesn't matter where you walk. And she says, as long as I get somewhere. And he says, oh, you'll do that as long as you walk long enough. And then the famous lines about, we're all mad here, that everybody knows. But just the idea that, you know, if you keep walking, you'll get somewhere sooner or later. Reminds me of Buckaroo Banzai. No matter where you go, there you are. The hangman might work for the Cheshire Cat up in the tree. I don't know. That also might be a good magician. The magician might end up being the caterpillar. I'm not really sure. Oh, the Four Pentacles. The surety of possessions. The miser. And got that as the tea party. A lot of people think the tea party is a fun time. Alice does not have a good time at the tea party. And the very first thing that happens when she's walking up is that there's the Dormouse, the March Hare, and the Hatter. She's walking up, and they all say, no room, no room. And she says there's plenty of room, but they don't want her at the table. And so, perfect. The Ten of Swords, stabbed in the back, but perhaps also indicating drama. That reminded me of the story the Mad Hatter tells about when he was singing at the Queen's concert, and the Queen bawled out, he's murdering the time, off with his head. And that is actually when time got mad at him and quit working for him, and so now it's always tea time, which explains the tea party. But I thought the murdering time comment was good. Ten of Swords. Five of Wands. Not necessarily serious battle. Well, that's pretty good for the March Hare and the Mad Hatter stuffing the Dormouse into the teapot. Oh yeah, this is this lovely old book of my mom's, which has nice big illustrations, but leaves out a few for color plates. So here is our Three of Pentacles, from a different copy I have. There you have your 3 cards that accidentally planted white roses and are painting them red before the Red Queen finds out and cuts off their heads. Speaking of the Red Queen, I'm thinking she's going to make a good Queen of Swords. There are a lot of queens in these books, and honestly, mostly they're unpleasant, so that's a little tricky assigning them. The Two of Pentacles. Balance by a turbulent sea. I think the description of Alice trying to keep her flamingo croquet mallet in place during the turbulent croquet game. Good match. I was thinking Seven of Wands for that first because, you know, they are threatening him with getting his head cut off, although he is just a head in the sky, the Cheshire Cat. But then I thought, no, what am I even thinking? You know, the fantasy in the sky. Definitely this has to be the Seven of Cups. I think the Mock Turtle telling his sad tale to Alice and the Griffin makes a good Hierophant. He is a bit bossy. And the Mock Turtle, the Griffin, and Alice dancing the Lobster Quadrille, I think is a good Three of Cups. This might be a little bit of a stretch for the picture. We have the Nine of Cups here, and here's this lobster. But I chose that lobster. Alice is repeating poetry and getting it all wrong again. "'Tis the voice of the lobster. I heard him declare, you have baked me too brown, I must sugar my hair." And the poem continues. "I passed by his garden and marked with one eye how the owl and the oyster were sharing the pie." And then we go into the Mock Turtle song about soup. And so I'm like, yeah, that's a good place for the Nine of Cups. And I see two people in this picture of the trial. We have the Knave of Hearts, who stole the tarts. He's definitely the Seven of Swords. And then we have Justice. And the person of the King and the jury. Could also just make Justice jury. I mean, pictorially it looks better there. I don't know. I'll think about that. Still in the trial. I can use the King for the Emperor too. And the Seven of Wands. I think Alice, with all the cards flying up into her face from below, is a good representation there. Now we're over into the Looking Glass. So, new story. And since it's a new story, I thought we could have an ace here. Ace of Pentacles can be the kitten that opens the scene. I'm wavering here. Alice, I think, should be some of the queens. In the beginning of the story here, she feels maybe a little more Queen of Cups-ish because she's being all warm and nurturing to the kittens, but, you know, Black Cat. And she is being sort of fanciful and creative, so maybe Queen of Wands there. And then as she's walking into the Looking Glass house, I think the back view can be the Ace of Cups. The front view, where things have gone a little bit funky, maybe the Ace of Wands. For that creativity again. See those faces there? I don't know if I'll keep this or not. The King and Queen. Maybe Two of Cups. I'm liking this, though. The Knight of Wands, who is sliding down the poker. The White Knight. And balancing very badly. Definitely, the devil has to be the Jabberwock. This, we have Alice in a garden. I'm still wavering about it because, again, those are not nice flowers. Those are mean flowers. So it's not quite the satisfied woman in the garden of the Nine of Pentacles, but it might work. Here we're looking out over the chessboard that makes up the world in the Looking Glass. And I'm thinking maybe one of these, or I might use the World card, although nobody's dancing, so that doesn't quite work. Definitely the motion of the Eight of Wands is the Red Queen and Alice running, and yet not getting anywhere. This one might be hard. Alice is in a train here, and the train is about to jump a brook, so that's very Chariot as far as the theme goes, but the picture's a little static. I'm going to have to work with that one. Oh, this one. Alice is in the woods where everyone loses their name, and she meets the fawn. And they walk through together until they get out and remember their names, and then the fawn runs away. This might be controversial. Death is the walrus, the carpenter, and all the oysters that they lured out for a walk and then ate. There isn't a whole lot of death in this. I mean, the Jabberwock gets killed and whatnot. There's death here and there. But that's the harshest one, I think. The Four of Swords. That is the Red King sleeping. Tweedledum having a meltdown because he has just discovered that Tweedledee spoiled his new rattle. Look at that face. That's your Three of Swords. Oh, here's the second spot where lovely plate in my mom's old edition, but let's find the original. This copy has such teeny pictures. But Alice rowing the sheep. That's going to be the Six of Swords. And it is such a fanciful dream journey they're on. Page of Wands. I know one of the meanings is messenger, and so one of the king's messengers is going to be the Page of Wands, and I don't know. If you ever read Looking Glass, the Mad Hatter and the March Hare show up again as messengers in the Looking Glass. Oh, and then we have three characters here. Alice is handing around the plum cake, so she can be the Four of Wands. And we have the lion and the unicorn here as the King of Pentacles and the King of Swords. Definitely the unicorn is the King of Swords because the king is criticizing him for having just run the lion through with his horn. So very much swords. And the unicorn is saying it didn't hurt him. And then here's the lion, who is yawning and looking tired and sleepy. And I know Waite said that the King of Pentacles was lethargic sometimes. So there you go. The Knight of Swords is this red knight who's battling the white knight for control of Alice. She's the pawn, very near becoming a queen. And then the white knight who wins is the Knight of Cups. He is not quite as sedate as the Knight of Cups, but he is very kind. He's one of the only people who's really kind to Alice the whole time through, so that works. And I think when Alice finally crosses into the 8th square and becomes a queen, that can be victory. And she can also be the Empress here, since she is Queen Alice. And since she's starting something new, she might also be the Ace of Swords there. I'm thinking about that one. And definitely at the end of the banquet, when she grabs the tablecloth and yanks it and everything goes flying, that's the Tower. I have always loved this picture so much. And back at home with the kittens, we might go for the nostalgia of the Six of Cups. So I haven't used half the illustrations in here yet, which is good because I still have all these cards left to assign. But thanks for watching. I talked about my little fun project this weekend. I hope everybody else is having a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.